anxiety makes me poop. Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something very, very important. Recently, someone commented that they couldn't believe people would ever find anxiety funny. And I want to say this crystal clear and with a lot of care. I hear you and I understand that feeling. Truly, I do. And that's why I'm here. Anxiety isn't funny. It's heavy. It's exhausting. It can be terrifying at times. It can be isolating. It could be deeply misunderstood. And for many people, it's something that they live with every single day. I am one of them. So I want to be very clear about something. The reason I talk openly about anxiety, sometimes with lightness, sometimes with humor, actually a lot of humor on our Facebook page, is never to make fun of it or minimize it. It's the opposite. If you don't laugh, you cry, right? I talk about it because I know how lonely it can feel when you think you're the only one whose maybe heart races for no reason. Maybe your thoughts spiral at 2 a.m. Maybe you wear your watch. I have a Garmin watch and it tells you that you woke up 38 times throughout the night. Maybe whose body reacts before your mind catches up. Maybe your mouth says things and you worry about it for 10 years. For a lot of us, laughter isn't about making anxiety smaller. It's about making it survivable. It's a coping tool. It's a release. It's a reminder that even on the hard days, we're still human and we matter. I also want to say this clearly. If humor isn't how you process anxiety, stress, anxiousness, that's completely okay too. That's just the way that I'm going to do it and how Cass and I are going to do it. There's no right way to move through anxiety, to move through life, to move through anything like this. Some people need quiet. Some people need validation. Some people need therapy, medication, rest, boundaries, or all of the above, like me. Some of us need a space where we can say, wow, this is really, really hard. How am I going to get through this? And some of us need to feel understood during those times. That's why I started this space in the first place. Not to make light of pain. I would never do that, but to make people feel less alone in it. I wanted to create a place where you can show up exactly who you are, as who you are. I wanted to create a place where you don't have to pretend you're fine. I wanted to create a place where your experience is valid, even if it looks different than someone else's. And we're going to talk about that today. If you're here and anxiety has been a part of your life, like mine has, I hear you. I see you. I get you. If you're here because you love someone who struggles, I see you. I hear you. I get you. And if you're just here to listen and learn, because maybe you like me, maybe you're friends with me, maybe you're family with me, and you just want to learn what I'm learning, you belong here as well, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. This is my outlet. This is what I do. I write books. I record podcasts. I post on social media. Cass joins me a lot of the times, and we just have a great time. Because you know what? Again, if I don't laugh, I cry. If I don't do this kind of stuff, I'm in my bedroom taking a nap. Or, days go past, and I'm just like, wow, what just happened? So this is my outlet. It's not about laughing at anxiety. I want to remind everyone of that. It's about just walking through it together. Honesty, compassion, and a little bit of light. So I appreciate the comment because it helped me remind myself what I did 2 years ago, why I started this, why I do this. So I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening. I thank you for the commenter, because it did remind me to explain why we were here. Anxiety is not funny. You're not alone. So thank you for being part of this community that's just trying to show up with a little kindness and support. All right, let's take a really super deep breath together, and we're going to get on with the episode. Ready? Breathe in. and breathe out. If you're listening, if you're still listening, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. This episode is for anyone whose anxiety shows up uninvited, especially around this time. Ooh, what am I going to do in 2026? What am I going to do after the new year? Sometimes emotionally, sometimes physically, sometimes in ways that you think, whew, my mind and body are just really out of whack. All right, if that's you, welcome. You're in great company today. You're in great, great company. Let's talk about it. So today and in the future, it's not about fixing yourself. It's not about optimizing or hustling or becoming a brand new person by next year, which is New Year's or whenever you're listening to this. It's just about doing your best and remembering that your best counts every single day. I've kind of been thinking a lot about this lately because I know we talked about this last year when we were going into 2025 and it was not a resolutions post, or I'm sorry, it wasn't a resolutions episode. And this one is not either. It's just a reminder that the world gets loud, it gets noisy. You're going to see a lot of people saying how great their year was and how they can't look, how they're looking forward to next year. I did a little bit of that, but I like the way my life is going right now. So I don't have anything big, no big resolutions. I'm just going to be here. Maybe I'll drink a little more water. That's like my resolution. Maybe I'll, try to heal a little bit more, try to glow up a little bit more, try to thrive a little bit more. Manifest positivity. I will definitely not be journaling at sunrise because I don't do that, but I record podcasts. I post a meme, that kind of stuff. So whatever it is that you're going to do, awesome. If you're not going to do anything, also just as awesome. A lot of us are just trying to get through the day without spiraling. I can never say that word, but I always write it down. We're just trying to get through it without overthinking. Maybe I'll use overthinking from now on. Sometimes there's a text that comes through and you're like sweating. Don't worry about it. Reply when you're ready. Okay, here's a truth that, man, I think I wrote this at like 2 a.m. I can barely read my handwriting. Yes, I do write. I don't journal. Here's the truth about what's not said out loud. We're not all meant to be in the same season at the same time. Some of us are being planted. Some of us are growing roots. Some of us are resting because last season took everything out of us. Maybe this year you didn't get enough sunshine, so you're just looking for some more sunshine to grow. Maybe some of us got too much wind, so we need to grow back our leaves, right? Maybe some of us we were planted in the wrong soil. We got to go find the right soil. Maybe we need a little mix of sand in there, or maybe we need some more fertilizer, but none of this means that you're behind. It just means that maybe you have to be moved a little bit, or maybe you have to get into a better season, right? It's also okay if your biggest accomplishment today was just showing up, waking up, drinking a cup of coffee, getting an energy drink, drinking a bottle of water, drinking a glass of water, whatever it is. It's okay if getting out of bed was your win. Or it's also okay if only one email response was your win. Or maybe you chose kindness when you really wanted to scream or shut down or get angry. Oh, you know what? This reminds me, I have a quick story. So if you celebrate Christmas or, the holidays that are upon us right now, it gets a little busy the weekend before. If you stay at home, good for you, because it's always a little bit wild with the last minute shoppers, or just the shoppers. I shouldn't even say last minute. You shop when you can, right? And my husband and I were at the grocery store, and I went to go reach for something, and a grown woman pushed her way through my arm. It reminded me of Red Rover. And I almost dropped the flower that I was grabbing, and it was literally just so she could get through. She was aggravated. And I jumped back like, holy cow, and was going to say something. I actually turned my whole body to her, and I thought, you know what? Nah, she doesn't get my energy. She's not going to get my negative energy. And I just took a deep breath, and someone else saw it and kind of laughed and looked at me like, wow. And that was it. We had like a laugh. I feel bad for that person that had to push her way through, and I almost dropped the flower everywhere. But what can you do, right? I mean, that's the stress, I guess, that some people go through. And, maybe she was running out of the store because of anxiety. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. Let's send her good vibes at this moment, and hopefully her days got better. Back to accomplishments. They all matter. Progress doesn't have to be loud to be real. It doesn't have to be loud. You don't have to post any of your progress. You do it to yourself. You do it for yourself. You don't have to explain your pace to anyone. In the running world, I am still a runner. I'm just not a race runner anymore because I just put too much pressure on myself. And I noticed in the running communities that I was in, they always talked about pace. And if I wasn't fast enough, I would try even harder and try even harder. Or if someone else would say, nah, I only run, you would never want to run with me. I only run a 10-minute mile or a 12-minute mile. And I would say, that's not what it's about. It's just about community and getting together, and you don't have to explain your pace to anyone. Sometimes you can just say, hey, I'm not the fastest, but I would love the company. I have a great friend that we run every Friday or Saturday, depends on our schedule. And it's just all about showing up. And it's just all about hanging out. Sometimes we run faster. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes, a lot of times this past year, because of my surgery and not being able to gain all my energy, we've been walking. But you know what? Every single day that we meet up, she says, I'm just so happy to be out here. And we have such great conversations. And that's what it's about. When we first started, I felt like I had to explain my exhaustion to her and what was happening. And, we do have the good talks about, maybe some stress that we're having, and we can, just kind of bounce things off each other. That's fabulous. And that's just one of the many amazing attributes to her. She's such a great listener and has such great advice. But again, you don't have to explain your pace to anyone. I used to apologize for walking or having to take a sip of water or, being slower for the day because I didn't get any sleep. It doesn't matter to her. She don't care. She always just says, I'm just so happy to be outside right now and on the trails. And it's just amazing. Find yourself someone that you don't have to explain your pace to. Maybe find someone that you don't have to justify why your life looks the way it does right now. You don't have to justify it to anybody. You don't even have to justify it to yourself. Because you know what? Probably what you've been through is the reason why you are where you're at. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. And you definitely do not have to compete with people who aren't living your life. Can I repeat that? I love that. You never, ever have to compete with people who aren't living your life. So if it's bothering you that people are what you think ahead of you and you're seeing it on social media, get off of social media. If you are in the middle of a conversation of someone that's telling you all their great things and it's starting to bother you because you feel like you're not there, say thank you for sharing that and walk away. Put up your boundaries. You don't deserve to beat yourself up over other people's accomplishments because you have your own as well. Everyone's on different levels. Don't do that to yourself. Anxiety loves to convince us that everyone else has it all figured out and they're ahead of us and maybe they're talking about us and they're judging us because we're not where we need to be. Or maybe anxiety loves to make us think that people are moving ahead while we're somehow falling behind. And that is not true. We all have our own pace. We all have our own levels. Most people are just trying to get through their day in a positive way. You don't ever want to just get through a day, right? You want to have something count. Waking up, having a cup of coffee, drinking a glass of water, talking to someone on the phone, replying to the email, whatever it is. Everyone is managing their own fears, stress, and their own chaos, their own anxiousness. Everyone. Even if it doesn't look like someone is, they've probably been through some sort of fear to get to where they're at. They've probably been through some sort of stress to get to where they're at. Everyone goes through it when they're growing. None of it decides your worth, and nobody can rewrite your story. Nobody can write your story. Don't allow, for years, I let people tell me what I should be doing. Do not should yourself, and don't let other people should yourself. You are allowed to live gently. You're allowed to protect your peace. You grow in the ways that only you know. No one else has to see it, and you don't have to tell anybody about it. Have your own goals. As we move on to this next year and you start seeing a whole bunch of stuff, I just want to offer this. What if 2026 isn't about becoming someone new? Because you're great as you are. But maybe it's just about being kinder to yourself. Kinder to the person you already are. Be kind on yourself. What if your success looks like trusting yourself more? Judging yourself less? Or maybe letting your life unfold at the pace that it actually needs? So there's going to be some people that make big changes. Maybe they're ready. Maybe they've been preparing, for them for years. Maybe some of us are going to be making just small, tiny ones. Maybe some of us are just going to keep going. I feel like I'm in that bucket. I'm not like going to make anything huge in 2026. I just want to keep going. I love my life as it is right now. I do want to get better with the anxiety. I worry. I don't sleep. I ponder over a text for 3 hours. The normal anxiety stuff. Maybe I'll try and get better at that. I'm not chalking it up. I'm not putting it on the whiteboard because I'll do it as things come around. I'm just wanting to be where I'm at right now. So maybe wherever you're at right now, emotionally, mentally, physically, you're not doing it wrong. You're surviving. You're going to try thriving. You're doing your best. Your best is enough. Even on the days that don't feel very impressive to you, you are still making it happen. Remember that. So if you're starting to see the social media posts and the people talking about how great 2025 was and they're going to make it even better in 2026, and you start feeling a little depressed or it starts to bother you, get off of social media and do something for yourself, even if it's breathe. Take a couple deep breaths, calm yourself, go for a walk, whatever helps you get through the day. And you know best. No one else knows best. Only you. Thank you so much for listening. Take a deep breath, drink some water, and please be gentle with yourself today. You're doing better than you think. Talk to you next time.